Telling a story to peoples. I was desperate. That's the only reason I took the job. I had just dropped out of college and needed quick cash, so when I saw a help wanted sign at a rundown gas station on the edge of Route 66, I pulled over. The owner was a guy named Earl, skinny, nervous, and constantly looking out the window. He didn't even interview me. He just asked, "Can you stay awake until 6 a.m.?" I said yes. He threw me the keys and grabbed his coat like the building was on fire. "There's a list on the counter," Earl said, opening the door. "Read it, memorize it, follow it. If you break a rule, just leave. Don't try to fix it, just run." And with that, he was gone. I locked the door and laughed. I thought he was trying to scare the new guy. I picked up the crumpled piece of paper from the counter. It was stained with coffee and something that looked like dried blood. I started reading. Rule number 1. Keep the front door locked between 1 a.m. and 1:15 a.m. Do not open it for anyone, even if they look like the police. Rule number 2. If you see a woman in a yellow dress standing by pump number 4, do not look at her face. Just speak into the intercom and say, "We are out of gas." She will leave. Rule number 3. At exactly 3 a.m., the phone will ring. Do not answer it. Let it ring until it stops. Rule number 4. If the lights in the freezer section start flickering, hide behind the counter and close your eyes. Count to 10. If you hear breathing, keep counting. I tossed a list into the trash. "Crazy old man," I muttered. I poured myself a coffee and sat down. The night was quiet. Boring, actually. But then I looked at the clock. It was 12:59 a.m. A pair of headlights cut through the darkness. A car pulled up slowly. It wasn't a normal car. It was an old police cruiser, rusted and dented. It parked right in front of the door. The driver got out. He was wearing a uniform, but it was torn and dirty. He walked up to the glass door and tapped on it with a baton. Tap, tap, tap. He smiled, but his eyes were too wide. He shouted through the glass, "Open up, kid! Routine inspection." I reached for the lock to let him in, but then my hand froze. I remembered the list. Rule number 1, do not open it even if they look like the police. I looked at the digital clock on the wall. 1:05 a.m. The officer stopped smiling. He leaned his face against the glass, his breath fogging it up. He whispered loud enough for me to hear. "I know you have the list, kid. Earl forgot to tell you one thing. Rules are made to be broken." I stared at the clock. 1:14, 1:15, 1:16. The second the minute hand hit the 16 mark, the officer stopped banging. His angry expression vanished instantly. He straightened his uniform, tipped his cap politely, and walked back to his car as if nothing had happened. He drove away into the darkness. My hands were shaking. I ran to the trash can and dug out the crumpled list on the counter. Earl wasn't crazy. The rules were real. I scanned the paper for the next instruction. Rule number 2. If you see a woman in a yellow dress standing by pump number 4, do not look at her face. Just speak into the intercom and say, "We are out of gas." She will leave. I looked at the security monitors. The station was empty. 2 hours passed. I started to relax. Maybe the cop was just a prankster. I was actually dozing off when a motion sensor alarm beeped. Beep, beep. I looked at the screen for pump number 4. Standing there under the flickering fluorescent light was a woman. She was wearing a bright, sunny yellow dress that looked like it was from the 1950s. She wasn't pumping gas. She was just standing there, facing away from the store. Her back was to me. I felt a cold sweat break out on my neck. I remembered the rule. Do not look at her face. I kept my eyes glued to her back. My finger hovered over the intercom button. I pressed it. My voice cracked. We are out of gas." Static filled the speaker. For a long, agonizing moment, she didn't move. Then, slowly, her shoulders started to shake. She was laughing, but it wasn't a human laugh. It sounded like metal grinding on metal. Then she began to turn. I squeezed my eyes shut. I slammed my hand on the counter. "We are out of gas!" I screamed. Silence. I opened one eye. The monitor was empty. Pump 4 was deserted. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I checked the clock. It was 2:58 a.m. Oh no. I looked down at the list. Rule number 3. At exactly 3 a.m., the phone will ring. Do not answer it. I looked at the old landline phone on the desk. It sat there, silent and heavy. 2:59. I backed away from the desk. I'm just a phone, I told myself. Just don't pick it up. 3 a.m. Ring! The sound was deafening in the small store. Ring! I covered my ears. I just had to wait it out. Ring! I looked at the phone again, and my blood turned to ice. The phone cord was cut. The wire was dangling loose off the side of the desk. It wasn't plugged into the wall, but the phone was still ringing. Ring! And then, without me touching it, the speakerphone clicked on. A voice crackled through the broken phone speaker. It sounded wet, like someone speaking with a mouthful of water. "You didn't answer, but you listened. That counts." I ripped the cord out of the phone base completely. The voice stopped immediately. I backed away, breathing hard. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm leaving. I grabbed my keys and turned toward the front door. But before I could take a step, the overhead lights buzzed loudly and died. The store was plunged into total darkness. Only one light remained. At the back of the store, the lights in the freezer section started flickering. On, off, on, off. Rule number 4. If the lights in the freezer section start flickering, hide behind the counter and close your eyes. Count to 10. If you hear breathing, keep counting. I dove behind the counter, curling into a ball on the dirty floor. I squeezed my eyes shut tight. 1, I whispered. I heard the front door chime ding. Someone or something had just walked in. 2, 3. Heavy steps crunched on the linoleum floor. They were wet, squishing steps. Squish, step. Squish, step. 4, 5. The steps stopped right in front of the counter. I could smell it now, the smell of stagnant swamp water and old gasoline. 6, 7. I heard breathing, but it wasn't coming from above me. It was coming from right next to my ear. Something was crouching down right with me. 8, 9. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but I knew if I opened my eyes, it would be over. So I screamed the last number in my head. 10. Silence. The breathing stopped. The lights buzzed back on. The smell vanished. I slowly opened my eyes. The store was empty. The sun was starting to peek through the windows. It was 6 a.m. I had made it. I stood up, laughing hysterically. I grabbed my bag and ran for the door. I pushed it open, ready to feel the fresh morning air. But the door didn't lead outside. I pushed the door open, and I was standing back in the gas station. Same counter, same coffee pot, same flickering light. I turned around. There was a new "Help Wanted" sign on the window, and sitting on the counter was the list, but there was new writing on it in fresh red ink. Rule number 5. If you survive the night, you become the next Earl. You can never leave. I looked at the glass reflection. It wasn't my face anymore. I looked old, tired, nervous. And then I saw a car pull up outside. A young kid got out looking for a job. I opened the door and forced a smile. Can you stay awake until 6 a.m.?